Stephen Curry had one of the best Olympic moments ever. This guy made for amazing three-point shots in the last 2 minutes to win a gold medal. Every time it looked like France might beat him, he made him give up. I actually made a video saying Steph was just a helper player in the tournament, but right after that he proved me totally wrong. So many funny comments from Warriors fans came in, so I learned a tough lesson. Never doubt Steph Curry. But the U.S. team learned something too. America isn't going to win easily like they used to. It took everything they had to beat Serbia and France. But who's going to lead the U.S. team at the next Olympics? Well, to answer that, let's look at what happened in France. The leaders in points, rebounds, and assists were Steph Curry and LeBron. They're 36 and 39 years old. Kevin Durant made the biggest shot to beat Serbia. So who's going to replace these old guys? I want to look at the possible 2028 U.S. team and who their biggest enemy will be. But even the Avengers almost lost. The U.S. won every game easily, but was losing by 13 points going into the fourth quarter against Nikola Jokic's Serbia team. Serbia had only made 27% of their three-point shots the first 2 times they played. But they couldn't miss in the first 3 quarters of the semifinals. So Steve Kerr used his all-time great players, playing LeBron, KD, Steph, Joel Embiid, plus Devin Booker for all but 8 seconds in the fourth quarter. All the old guys won this game. Steph was incredible, scoring 36 points, just 1 point away from Carmelo Anthony's U.S. record. But check this out. Serbia was winning by 2 points with over 2 minutes left. They got the ball to a wide-open shooter who missed the three. If that shot went in, the U.S. would have been in big trouble. But Steph and Embiid made their shots, and Kevin Durant hit the game dash winner. This was Serbia's best chance to win gold, and they blew it, missing all 10 of their three-point shots in the fourth quarter. They are not the biggest threat going forward. I mean, where do you think Nikola Jokic is going to be in 4 years? Did you see him partying after winning bronze? This guy isn't exactly built like LeBron over here. No, the biggest threat is France. Since the embarrassing loss in 2004, the U.S. has gone 36 wins and 1 loss at the Olympics. The only loss was to France in group play during the Tokyo Games. And in case you didn't notice, 5 French players were picked in the NBA draft lottery the last 2 years, including back-to-back number 1 picks. Next year, they have another player expected to be picked in the lottery in a really good draft class. And for some reason, they didn't even bring any of those super young guys except for Victor Wembanyama. But in 2028, he could be the best player in the world with a lot of young, amazing backup players. One guy they're not going to have is Rudy Gobert. NBA players made fun of him throughout the whole tournament, like usual. Shaq said he would be working at Walmart if he wasn't 7 feet 1 inch tall. And apparently the French coach agreed because he surprisingly benched the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year before their semifinal game against Canada. Gobert was embarrassed about this and knew he was going to get made fun of. So he told the media, "Oh, I had finger surgery before the game." And you would think his coach would support him, but no. Vincent Khalid said, "Will Canada play small ball?" I wanted Wemby starting at center. It wasn't surgery. It was just a shake. I mean, he had an MRI to make sure he's okay, but he didn't have surgery. He just had to make sure Rudy Gobert is lying. But honestly, that is a good thing because Wemby is obviously the future in the 2028 Olympics. He will be 24 years old the perfect time to fix his mistakes. And yes, I know Vic had 26 points in the gold medal game, but he was not good enough in the biggest moments. For example, France went on a scoring run entering the fourth quarter, but Wemby missed a big three-pointer that killed their momentum. The U.S. scored on the other end, then another missed three-pointer with 6 minutes and 48 seconds to go, and a missed free throw. This was the exact opposite of Steph, who got better in the biggest moments. Vic will make those shots for years from now, though. But if there is a round 3 in the gold medal game, a third matchup of France versus the USA, who is playing for America, well, let's go back to that list of 2024 players and get rid of the old guys. So let's drop everyone above 30 years old. Not that it's impossible for a 34-year-old to play, but I just don't trust Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis's long-term health. And Derek White can be replaced. That leaves us with 5 players and 7 open roster spots. So who fills the 7? Everyone's 20-28 age will be on the right. Honestly, first player I'd pick is Jalen Brunson. I know it's already a team with too many guards, but he is one of the best American players, and he'll be in the middle of his prime then. Cooper Flag, baby, youngest guy on the team. Every roster needs a young guy, and we need two-way wings like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, whatever. Next, obviously, Chet Holmgren. We need big players, and can you imagine how fun the Wemby versus Chet rivalry would be on the Olympic stage? Next, Paolo Banchero, who's kind of like a wing forward big or whatever. Bottom line, he switched from Italy to the USA and made a lot of Italians mad, kind of like Joel Embiid did. So we owe it to him, and he's really good. Then another wing with Mikal Bridges and 2 role players because we need them, Walker Kessler and Josh Hart. So players who don't make it include Donovan Mitchell, Jaren Branson, De'Aaron Fox, and Trae Young. But there are too many guards. Like, who would you switch here? And Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jaylen Brown, obviously. But is that enough to win gold? Now, you might say yes. I mean, you got a lot of all-stars there. But who will close the games? Because one thing we saw in Paris is no matter how much of a favorite you are, winning is tough. And who did it for the USA this time? LeBron, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, experienced guys who are not afraid of pressure. They would always calm down the game because they have been in huge spots, winning championships. Which one of these young guys is going to have a LeBron, Steph, KD type resume by 2028? My money is on Anthony Edwards. I mean, I'm not saying he'll have multiple championships on the but he'll be 27 years old in the middle of his prime, and he obviously has that. Mamba DNA, not afraid to take the last shot, but you need more than one of those clutch guys. We just saw that here in Paris. That meanwhile, Wemby may be the best player in the world with real backup. Like, imagine if in that semifinal, Nikola Jokic, best player in the world, right, was surrounded by high-level NBA talent in the Serbia game. It's over. The U.S. goes home. Now, in reality, at least one of the old guys is going to return for the U.S. in 2028. And I know it sounds crazy, but like, how could LeBron turn down playing in his own backyard? He still looks like a top 10 player in the league. KD feels old because of his injuries, but he's got 2 years left on his son's contract. All he would need to do is sign a 2-year extension, and he's still playing in 2028. Anthony Davis somehow has changed the story about himself. Not only was he amazing at the Olympics, he has been healthy and dominant, I think, ever since he stopped trying to be a shooter and just dominate in the paint. Everything changed. But it is clear that the U.S. is in trouble because they barely won gold with three of the greatest players of all time playing their butts off. But one guy who is headed overseas permanently is Patrick Beverley. He is done with the NBA. Now he says it was all his choice, but all the signs say he is lying. Pat Bev actually got banned from the NBA.